1. So I matched with this girl on Tinder, Jenna. Jenna and I went on our first date on January 26th. She knew I was out of a long-term relationship and still maintained occasional contact with my ex, Mary. Jenna and I officially start calling each other boyfriend and girlfriend around mid-February. 3 days ago, while I'm in the shower, she goes through my phone and reads old messages between Mary and I. A few casual ones and a few very affectionate ones from before Jenna and I started seeing each other or even met. Jenna packs all of her things and is heading out the door when I get out the shower with my phone. She texts a bunch of people saying things like I'm an asshole and Mary is a manipulative bitch. She hacks into my Facebook and makes a post calling Mary a whole slew of names and blocks and unfriends several of my friends. She does a similar thing with Twitter. I get hold of a co-worker's phone and use it to try to contact her and sign back into my Facebook. Once she realizes I did this, she changed my passwords and my email passwords as well. Eventually she tells me she wants to talk this out, and to meet at my place. I play along so I can get my phone and passwords back. She gives me my phone and makes me call Mary and tell her I'm cutting her out of my life. I got a hold of Mary earlier and warned her something like this might happen. We both have a background in theatre, so we had a very convincing argument over speakerphone, so Jenna can hear. Jenna gives me my passwords and I immediately change them. I tell her she should leave and she doesn't understand why I want her out of my life. She goes home very upset about me breaking up with her over this. Jenna starts posting and commenting on my Facebook and I block her. I blocked her on everything and she begins calling me over and over. Not saying anything when I try to pick up the phone. I block her number. I start receiving the same calls over and over from a Colorado number. I live in Canada. Eventually I go to my phone provider and change my number. I also change the locks in my door in case she took a key. Next day, she makes a Facebook page calling me a piece of shit and Mary a manipulative cunt, and she hacks into my alt Twitter account. I tell her if she calls me one more time or posts one more thing about anybody I know, I'm calling the police. I get an email saying that my application for a credit card, with a bank I do not use, has been approved. I call the bank and tell them what's happening, and they put a freeze on the account. Several friends have told me to call the police, and I finally realize enough is enough. The police come and tell me she has some sort of file with them, and that her name isn't even Jenna. It's something completely different. They issue a warning of harassment, and if she tries to contact me again, I call the police and she gets arrested. On Monday I have to call the fraud people and get all my accounts frozen and investigated and stuff. I realize this is a lot, but it is actually a pretty bare-bones version of the story. Basically, the reason I'm posting this now is that the police got involved, and I've had my locks changed and my number changed, and all is solved. I'm starting to feel the emotional damage of being abused and harassed by someone I was really starting to care about, and I don't know how to deal with it. 2. To give a little background, I'm a film student in college right now, and me and my buddies are always trying to find new locations to film our movies at. I make horror films, so all the places I'm looking for and exploring are abandoned. And tonight, me and my group of friends, there were 10 of us in total, decided to check out this abandoned hospital down the street from our school. They had been there before and said it was a great spot for filming, so I should check it out. Tonight was that night. So when I get there, I have my Nikon DSLR out with a handheld LED light attached to the top of the camera to scout the place when we get inside. I didn't film any of the encounter because I usually only film inside of these places, but I had my camera and light out to shine the way through. I was leading the way down this narrow path that led to these walls that we had to climb to get on the roof of the place, where we would access one of the rooms to get inside the building. Because I was carrying my camera and bag, I was trying to look for another way up. So I walk a little further down this narrow path, and I start noticing a lot of clothes and random shoes and cardboard boxes lying around the area. There was even an empty sleeping bag. That's when I knew that we probably weren't alone, and were likely going to run into someone if we made the wrong move. And boy did we ever. One of my friends walking behind me down this path notices a door to my right. It's closed, and my guess was that it was locked and not worth trying. But he already had his hand on the door handle and starts tugging. I look over, and it barely cracks open, but something is holding it from the inside. I shine my LED on the inside, and I see a shirt tied to the inside door handle to another part of the room, acting as a lock. But my friend, being the way he is, tugs again and rips that shirt right off, and the door swings open. Inside there is someone sleeping on like a table or a couch, alongside with a group of terrifying-looking people sitting by a light inside that room, and they all stop and stare at us. In the short glimpse that I got, my friend yells, "Oh shit! Get the fuck out of here!" and slams the door and just bolts past me. I was standing there a little shaken, almost feeling like I should apologize, but I just follow him instead. My other 8 friends, who are already on the roof at this point, ask what's going on, and we just run for our lives out of the area. I hear the door in the path swing open, but I couldn't look back. From there, me and my friend rendezvous back to a higher part of the area, away from any entrance leading to the hospital. There is a small gap that you could jump across to get to one of the roofs of the buildings that my other friends were on. About 4 of them follow us and jump across, ready to get out of there, but the others stay on the roof and watch us, stuck like statues. I look at them, confused at what they're staring at, and I begin to hear this metal dragging on the concrete. I turn around, and there is a crazy-looking man, maybe mid-20s, dragging a baseball bat with nails all along the end, walking towards us as he drags the bat along the concrete, acting just like Negan from The Walking Dead. My heart sinks. At this point, I turn off my light, and all that's shining is the moonlight. I keep my hand on my pocket knife, desperately trying to think of anything to do if he starts swinging. And I knew there was no way I could come out alive if I tried anything. Plus, I gotta take care of my camera. So he walks closer to us, and the first thing he says is, "You're gonna want to keep that light off." And everyone is silent. I'm practically shaking. He then starts circling around us and says, "You guys are never gonna come back here, right?" He walks past me and sees the camera and raises his bat, saying, "And you're gonna put that fucking camera away." And I just barely say, "Yeah, it's off." He looks over to my friends watching on the roof past the gap, and he points to them and says, "Jump." And they stand silent. The guy says again, "Fucking jump across right now. Just run and jump. You'll make it." Keep in mind the gap doesn't look that bad, but the drop is fatal if you don't make the jump. And my 4 friends are all staring down at the drop, fearing what could happen. One of them says, "I don't think I can make it." And the Negan guy replies, "Run and jump, or else you're gonna regret it." So my friend steps back, runs, and barely makes the jump. From there, one by one, the other 3 make the jump across, all while the Negan guy is standing right behind us with his bat, dragging it along the concrete. Once we all got across, he says to us, "You're never coming back here again. You understand?" And we awkwardly apologize and run away back to our cars in the distance. I get in my car and look back at the area, and he's still standing there, watching us with his bat as we speed off. Realistically, we could have probably ganged up on him as a group if anything bad happened, but who knows who else was back there. Sadly, the hospital is a no-go from here on out, but I'll still be looking around for some sick locations. What scared me the most about this was how fearless and disturbed this guy looked. He'd definitely seen some shit, and had undoubtedly used that bat before on someone else. He looked like a killer. He was a killer. And it was his calmness that really got to me. Definitely a lesson learned, but regardless, let's not meet again, Negan guy. Edit. I just woke up from an 8 a.m. class, and I'm gonna call the cops as soon as I'm out. Thanks for the advice, guys. Our first thought wasn't to call the cops because none of us were supposed to be there, especially that late at night. But still, I'll contact them. 3. A little background. I'm a 22-year-old female and come from the US, but I'm currently living in Germany for a work study. I'm traveling alone, but I am fluent in German, and I've always been fairly confident in my ability to live alone and defend myself. Considering I stand about 5'11" and carry 3 different forms of self-defense on me at all times. I've been here for a little over a month, and I absolutely love everything about it. Besides this experience. This happened roughly 3 weeks ago. After exploring my semi-large home city in Germany for a few weeks, I wanted to check out a nearby country. I've always been jealous of how Europeans can travel to countries like Americans can travel from state to state, and my dad generously offered to pay for my travels while I'm living here. So I wanted to take advantage of that and experience a different culture. After doing lots of research, I decided upon the Netherlands. I've always been curious about Dutch culture, and I was very excited to do some more exploring, even if just for a weekend. I chose a small city in the south of the Netherlands, so I only traveled about 4.5 hours to get there. I had some lovely Dutch food and got to experience the Saturday market in the city centre, which was filled with local goods. Now for the juicy part. On my last day in the Netherlands, I decided to check out a local Dutch coffee shop. Most of you probably already know, but some Dutch coffee shops sell weed for recreational use and have areas where you can smoke and talk to people. Since I've never been to anything like this before, I was super excited and nervous. I smoke relatively frequently back home, so I wasn't going into this completely blind. When I walked in, I had to register for an account, and the staff took my picture and passport and gave me an account number. I was a little uneasy about this, considering I didn't want my passport and a coffee club account to go hand in hand. But I've heard that several coffee shops do this, so I wasn't super worried. I then went to the counter and bought the weakest strain they had, White Widow, which is definitely not considered weak in the US. Also, it was only €5 for a half a gram. So that was pretty damn fantastic. I didn't want to bring the bud across borders because I didn't want to risk getting torn in half by the German police. So I decided I'd find someone to smoke with and grab a train afterwards. It was only about 1:30 p.m. as I made my way to the chill zone, a hazy room filled with foreigners and locals, all ripping bongs and dragging blunts. Amongst quite a few 20-something-year-old men, I see 2 girls sitting alone at a table for 4, and I ask if I can join. They happily oblige, and we start chatting. They introduce themselves as Alex and Jen. Both of them were Germans, and when I mentioned that I'm from the US, they got super excited and started gushing about how awesome California must be, of which I've never been. Not even a minute after I started talking to Alex and Jen, some lanky, freaky-looking boy lurks over from a different table and says, "Oh, you're from the US. We were just talking about how we wish we could afford to travel there." Immediately after saying this, he sits down across from me, despite the fact that nobody invited him to. Looks-wise, this guy appeared to be anywhere between 25 and 30, relatively scraggly with big, hazed-over brown eyes, shaggy brown hair, and a very large mouth of which was slightly ajar. Though he was slightly unkempt, he seemed relatively normal despite inviting himself to pop a squat with us. Lurky Boy starts asking us normal questions. Where are you from? Where do you work? How do you like the Netherlands? Blah blah blah. The way he spoke was slightly slurred, as if he'd been drinking, but I couldn't smell alcohol on him and he didn't seem drunk. He was consistently hard to understand, with an accent that was possibly Dutch. For a moment, I thought he might have a mental disability, so I didn't want to be rude to him and say I couldn't understand him. It also occurred to me that he might just be attempting to flirt, and failing miserably. So I didn't really see him as a threat. I mostly nodded at what he said and threw in a, "Yeah, for sure, here or there," while Alex and Jen were relatively quiet. Something about him was off-putting. I just couldn't figure out what it was. After a few minutes of barely coherent conversation, Alex asks if Lurky Boy can roll us a joint, since none of us know how to. He says yes and offers to grind our bud. We give him the go-ahead and he suddenly takes all of it and leaves the chill zone to grind it at the bar. This is where I started to get concerned. Tons of people in the chill zone had grinders right in front of them, and there was no reason for him to leave to grind our bud. I began to worry he might put something in it. Alex and Jen both admit that he freaks them out too, and I decide to keep an eye on him through the glass door, though he had his back to us. I'm closely watching him when he turns around and gives me this wide, toothy grin, almost like he was laughing. I instantly got the chills. He continued to stare directly at me, smiling as he spent 10 minutes grinding our bud. Lurky Boy wanders back in and hands us each our small bags of bud, and then grabs a paper to start rolling. I'm not shitting you when I say that he took 30 minutes to roll one loose, horrible joint. His hands were shaking the entire time, almost violently. I started to wonder if he was on something else. The joint immediately falls apart and he asks Alex, who was sitting directly next to him, to lick it and fix it. He's smiling and staring intently at her as she's about to lick it, and she says, "You really don't have to watch me do it." He responds again with some incoherent jibber-jabber. As I turn to the girls sitting behind me and ask if they could roll a joint for me. They do so in less than 5 minutes. The shitty joint falls apart after about 3 more times, and we decide to just smoke the one that the girls rolled, as we all wanted Lurky Boy to get the hell away from us at this point. I come up with a half-assed plan as we light it, and I say, "Hey, we appreciate you helping us, but these are my friends and I haven't seen them since last time I was in Germany, and we really just want to catch up and have some girl time." Seemed nice enough. Lurky Boy responds with, "You guys can talk with me right here. I don't have to leave." Alex immediately repeats the same thing I said, phrased a bit differently, and he says, "I'm staying here. You can pretend you're alone and just talk with me here." At this point, alarm bells are starting to go off. Lurky Boy isn't leaving, and I can't think of anything to say to make him go. Jen has been quiet almost the whole time, staring at the table. But Alex is starting to realize that we really need to do something. Alex says to him, "Please, we don't want to be rude. We just haven't seen each other in so long, and we really want to catch up, one-on-one." Lurky Boy aggressively shoots back with, "How did you meet then? Where did you meet? In what city? Why are you all friends?" And then directed at me, "Why were you in Germany? And where were you?" Fuck. Now I need a real story, or at least one convincing enough to shoo him away. I say something along the lines of, I was visiting, big city in Germany, to find an apartment for my upcoming work study, and I met them in a pub. We started talking, realized we had a lot in common, and decided to stay in touch, since I knew I wouldn't have a lot of friends when I moved here. Sounds legit. Lurky Boy nods and seems convinced enough. Alex immediately follows with, "Can you please go back to your friends so we can talk?" Lurky Boy says yet again, "I don't need to leave for you all to talk." He then says we should start fresh and asks me, and only me, what my name is, while extending a shaking hand. Suddenly every story I've read on here is rushing back to me, and I realize all of the things I've done wrong. I told him where I work, I told him where I live, I told him where I'm from. Fuckity fuck. My name is my last saving grace. I blurt out a fake name. Trisha. He repeats my name, nods, but doesn't tell me his. Now I've reached my limit. We tried being polite, but to no avail. We've spent over an hour dealing with this creepy-ass dude, and we've all had enough of it. I look him dead in the eyes and sternly say, "You're making us uncomfortable. Please leave us alone." Lurky Boy leans in until he's only a few inches from my face, his eyes almost quivering, as he says in a silent, low tone, "I know people at your work. People that are above you. You really don't want to mess with me. Because I could ruin your fucking life. I could fuck you up." As he says this, it's as though the slurring in his voice vanishes. I feel the blood draining from my face and my head starts tingling. I almost feel like I'm about to burst into tears or throw up, maybe both. I quickly grab my bag and say, "I'm going to leave. You're seriously making me uncomfortable, and I really don't want to talk to you anymore." And then the final blood-curdling comment from him, "I think we'll be on the same train. Now that I know where you live, I think it's time for me to go too." I rush outside in a panic, borderline hyperventilating, as Alex and Jen follow suit. We simultaneously say, "What the fuck?" and hurry away from the coffee shop. We end up exchanging numbers and going our separate ways. Now for a slightly happier ending. After I sprinted to the train station, I realized I'd left my pre-marked bag at the coffee shop. I honestly hesitated, as I really didn't want to run into Lurky Boy again, but I really wanted my 30 euros worth of useless goodies, so I ran back. I stood outside, briefly explained to the security guard what had happened, and why I left so quickly, and he said, "We saw what had happened and we kicked him out. So sorry for that, he is not allowed back here again," and handed me my bag. I honestly believe that without Alex and Jen there, things would have gone very differently. I think Lurky Boy had some seriously fucked up intentions, and the only thing stopping him was the fact that we were all together. So to Alex and Jen, let's definitely meet again. And to the guy who threatened to follow me home and ruin my life, let's never meet again. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to 3 True Scary Stories, episode 275. Thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. I think it's quite obvious that the guy in the last story there was on something, definitely on something other than weed. Maybe weed plus something else. Because if he'd just been smoking joints or whatever, he'd probably only be harassing the refrigerator. And that's about it. Okay, and with that I'm going to head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.